Be'ezrat Hashem, na'aseh v'natzliach. I'd like to welcome everyone to Ironside Lunch and Learn. This week's parasha is Parashat Toldot. A lot of interesting concepts over here of pregnancies, of marriages, of hardships in life. And anytime that there's that type of spiritual energy available on the weekly Torah portion, we'd like to connect some people that can benefit from it. So Be'ezrat Hashem, may this be to the Leda Kala of Hana, Moriah Bat Sarah, to the Refuah Shelema of Shana Bat Dina, and Leilu Nishmat Yeshua Hershel Lev Halevi, Yeshua Rafael ben Hershel Lev Halevi, and this also should be to the Atzlacha of Reina Bat Jacqueline, Refuah Shelema to Aharon Meir ben Miriam. Okay. This week's parasha is so fully loaded with things that we could talk about that I'm actually just going to discuss maybe the first 3 or 4 pesukim only. But you'll see that it's fully packed with life lessons and things that we can learn from today. On the beginning of the parasha it says, Ve'ele Toldot Yitzchak ben Avraham, Avraham ulidat Yitzchak. So it says this is the genealogy of Yitzchak, the son of Avraham. Avraham is the one that gave birth to Yitzchak. Why would it be necessary to say that Avraham is the one that gave birth to Yitzchak? So you say he gave him spiritual birth. It was his rabbi, it was his father, he gave him his Torah learning. But the truth is that during that time, Letzaneh Hador, which were these clowns of the generation, would spread the rumor that Sarah actually got pregnant from Avimelech when she was captive. The time that she was in captivity with Avimelech, that he's the one that got her pregnant, not Avraham, because her and Avraham were trying for such a long time. So right away, the first pasuk lets us know that Yitzchak is the son of Abraham, and Abraham is the one that gave him birth. And we know that he gave him birth how? Also Nakedat Yitzchak, he gave him a brand new neshama when we spoke about it the last few weeks ago, when he had an upgraded neshama. It's a brand new Yitzchak. However, to add to it, to put a stamp on it, Yitzchak had the cluster of Avraham Avinu. He had the identical face of Avraham Avinu. If you saw Avraham, you would see Yitzchak. As a matter of fact, in last week's parasha it says, V'Avraham ba bayamim. The rabbis tell us that it's the first time ever that people started to age. Because they looked so similar, they couldn't tell the difference between Avraham and Yitzchak. So Avraham ba bayamim, right away he started to get a gray beard and gray hair. Before that, it wasn't like that. They wouldn't age. They would age in years, but not in looks. It started with Avraham and Yitzchak because they looked so similar. As a matter of fact, even Sarah Imenu, who just passed away in the last parasha, looked very similar to Rivka as well. That's when it says over there, when Yitzchak found Rivka, and they were on the way to getting married, the pasuk says, "Vayavo Yitzchak ahola Sarah imo, vayikach Rivka v'tihilo lisha v'yava v'yinacham." It says that then Yitzchak took Rivka to the tent of his mother. Why? Because she reminded him of his mother. She looked like his mother. And then when he took her to the tent, we know there's the famous thing about Sarah's tent that she had over there, the candles that were lit the entire week from Shabbat to Shabbat. It had the clouds over it. It had the piping hot bread all the time. So it says, Vayava Vayinacham, he got consoled. Why did he get consoled? Because when she went into the tent, the light came back again. So he said, okay, I made a good choice. She's just like mom. Now, she has a similar kedusha like Sarah. At the end of last week's parasha, since we're talking about Avraham's genealogy, last week's parasha, it talks about Avraham taking a wife by the name of Keturah, which we know is actually Hagar. Hagar lost her way, but later on she made teshuvah. And when she made teshuvah, Avraham took her back. When he took her back, she took her back under the name of Keturah. Rashi says over there that her actions were sweet, or they were so good, like the smell of the ketoret. She was a big tzaddiket. She actually was a righteous woman at the end of the day. And he had 12 children with her. In other words, the whole strand of Ishmael has 12 tribes that come with it. Now the question goes, if Abraham already had Yitzhak, and Yitzhak is the continuation of the Jewish nation, why would he continue to have 12 more children from the Arab side, from Keturah, from the Ishmael side? If Yitzhak was already alive, and he is the real continuation, what was the need for Abraham to have more? Shouldn't he just stop? Isn't mission fulfilled? If the matara, if the goal is to just create a Jewish nation? Okay. So in order to get a deeper understanding of this, we have to go back to Bereshit. Over there it says, Vaifach ruach Hashem be'apo. It says that Hashem blew a soul into the body of Adam. And over there, Chazal tell us that it was a special soul, meaning we all have souls. But Adam's soul had a special component to it, a holier component, a higher, an upgraded soul that he had that did not get passed on automatically to the next generation. Cain and Hevel did not have it. The few generations after did not have it. This special component, this holy component that was Nadav HaRishon, got skipped around from generation to generation, and Hashem tried to instill it in certain people to see if it will stick, if it will hold, and then it will continue to the next generation. This special component did not pass automatically, but it found a home in Avraham. When Avraham got this special component, let's just say this little special Jewish upgrade to it, he passed it on to Yitzhak. Now you have to look at it like this. Here's Avraham. Avraham has the holiness, and they call it the psolet. Let's say the negative spirituality. So the holy spark he passed on to Yitzhak, and Yitzhak later on passed it to Yaakov, and Yaakov was able to perfect it and pass it on to the 12 tribes, and since then it's automatically in every Jew. It's finally settled in. Ishmael was the psolet. So what Abraham did says, listen, there is some psolet in my spirituality. Whether it's from the side of the mother, whether it's from the side of my ancestors. We know that his father was an idol worshiper. He also had a store for idol worship. So he says, there's still some of that DNA left in me. So he wanted to deplete that negative spirituality. And the way he depleted that negative spirituality is through Ishmael and the 12 other kids that came through Keturah. Which means that when it comes to Yitzhak, the spirituality that got passed over to him was on a higher level. It's as if Abraham, having those kids, sifted through and was able to pass on, meaning if you divide negative spirituality and a holy spark, the holy spark now was much stronger because there wasn't any negative spirituality connected to it. He depleted it with Ishmael. Now that he was able to pass it to Yitzhak, Yitzhak has the job of passing it on to the next generation. However, they're having a hard time. They're having a very hard time trying to conceive. They've been together for 20 years and they're not able to conceive. Rivka was barren, and we see that over here that they decided to pray for a child. How? Here there's a very special prayer, a special style of prayer. It says over here, ויעתר יצחק לאדוני לנוכח אשתו, כי עקרה היא. ויעתר לו אדוני ותער רבקה אשתו. The pasuk goes and emphasizes that ויעתר יצחק לשם נוכח אשתו. She stood on one corner of the room. he stood on the other corner of the room, and they looked at each other, or they were facing each other, and they had this special prayer. Now, while they had this special prayer, the pasuk continues to say that ki akara hi. The problem was with her. She was barren, not him. And right after this prayer, Vataha Rivka Ishto, she got pregnant. So the word Vayatar, if you go into Hebrew grammar, you know that Vayatar comes from the word La'ater. It's like a pitchfork. This is a pitchfork. What is a pitchfork that you do in the field? You take the hay and you flip it over. You take the hay and you flip it over. So that's the type of prayer that that Yitzchak was looking to do. He was looking to flip over the situation through this prayer of akara, of his wife being barren, to her to being to get pregnant, to switch over their fate. Rashi says over there, "Vayater lo velo la," that the prayers were actually heard. His prayers were heard, not hers. Rashi explains, and he continues to say, "Tefillah shel tzaddik ben tzaddik versus the tefillah shel tzaddik ben rasha." He says, a righteous man who comes from a righteous father, his prayer is on a much higher level from a righteous man that comes from an evil father, or from a rasha. In other words, let's just say you have a tzaddik, and his father was a tzaddik. So when he prays, it's double the power. His genealogy is strong. His forefathers, his chut avot, is working for him. But a person, let's just say, that just did teshuvah right now, what does he have to rely on? His actions. He doesn't have his father or his grandfather to rely on. So this is what happened over here. It says over here that Yitzchak, because his father was a tzaddik, his prayer got answered. Rivka, it says that Rivka is Bat Betuel Ha'arami. When they introduce her in the parasha, Rivka is the daughter of Betuel Ha'arami. The rabbis tell us, don't read it Ha'arami, read it Haramai. He was a big crook. If you take the word Arami and just boggle the words around, Ramai, a big crook. And this was said to her credit. The reason why we said that Rivka is the daughter of Betuel Arami, meaning that to show that she was in the surroundings of a rasha, her whole upbringing was surrounded by people that were not righteous, and yet she came out of tzedeket. Yet she was a righteous woman. However, Yitzchak ben Avraham. Yitzchak is the son of Avraham, like we said before. We proved that he's the son of Avraham. That's why he has the credit to have the ability to have his answers prayer. I heard a beautiful chidush on the Rashi. It says over there, lo velo la. They answered him and not her. The word lo is 36 numerical value. La is 35 numerical value. So the rabbis tell us that when their prayer went up, there was judgment. There was a Sanhedrin. Sanhedrin has 71 judges. So they were saying, okay, should she be kept pregnant? Not pregnant. Pregnant, not pregnant. So they said, lo, velo la. 36 took it, and not 35. There was a vote, and it was 36 versus 35.
There's 36 candles in Hanukkah.
As well. But he says that lo velo la. In other words, they went to a vote, and there was one vote extra that made the difference. So Rivka becomes pregnant right now, and the pasuk continues to tell us, "Vayitzitzutzu habanim bekirba, vatomer im ken lama ze anochi, vatelech lidrosh et Adonai." They said that the babies in her belly would move profusely when she would pass by a house of worship, which was Shem and Ever's yeshiva. Yaakov would move. When they would pass by an idol worship, Esav would move. So everywhere she goes, she sees what's going on. She says, "Why when I'm next to a yeshiva, there's movement, and when next to an idol worship or like a place of idolatry, there's some other movement? What's going on in my belly?" She doesn't understand it. So, we know that she had twins, Yaakov and Esav. However, we also know that when the babies are in the belly, there's an angel that teaches them Torah. Teaches them all the entire time that they're in the mother's womb. They get taught Torah, and then right before they're born, the angel presses right here under their nose, right over here, and they forget everything. But they don't forget. That becomes your second nature. That becomes your intuition. That becomes your subconscious. That's how you know what's good and bad. That's when you have your gut feeling about what's wrong and what's right. You're forgetting. When you're learning Torah in life, you're actually just reminding yourself what you were already taught in your mother's womb. So the question goes, if they're in the belly, everything is there. They're warm, they're comfortable, they have their food, they got an angel teaching them Torah. Why would they be rushing to get out? Why would they be rushing to litotzetz bekirba? Wouldn't they just enjoy the time that they were there? It seems that they're in the best place in the world, in the stage of life that they're in. So we learn from here that even if you are learning Torah from an angel, but you're sitting next to a Rasha, you need to get out. Even if you're sitting right now, there's an angel teaching us, but there's an evil man next to you, a Rasha, a person with bad midot, bad characters, it's better that you go and leave. It's not good to be in the company of evil people. That's why Yaakov couldn't stand to be in the belly. Now, Rivka begins to complain. The pasuk says, "Vatomer im ken lama ze anochi," which basically translates to, had I known that this pregnancy was going to be difficulty, I wouldn't have prayed for it. I'm praying all these years to be pregnant. This is torture. This is torture. Had I known, I would have not prayed for it. And you have to understand that not only is it that they're moving and they're giving her a hard time, Esav was a very special baby. Chazal tell us he would bite her in the womb. Esav was completely asui. He was fully formed in the belly. He would bite her in the womb. That would cause her to bleed. Imagine getting bit from the inside. It's a tremendous amount of pain. Besides the bleeding and the pain, you know that Esav is called Admoni, the red one. And the reason why they call him the red one is because Chazal tell us that the reason he turned red is because he was biting his mom in the womb, and all the blood started to dye him, to make him red. So when he came out, Yaakov was halak, clean, completely hairless, and Esav was completely hairy, but the hair was red from the result of him causing his mother to bleed in the womb. So, you see that she didn't have an easy pregnancy. But she also knew there's another thing. They say tzaddikim usually are born at 7 months. We have like Moshe Rabbeinu, we have Tzohar and Peretz, which are the kids of Tamar. These are righteous kids, and they usually come at 7 months. When she saw that it's getting prolonged, it's getting past 7 months, she says, okay, I don't know if I have tzaddikim in my belly, because right now my pregnancy is getting prolonged. Right now the Yetzer Hara has a prolonged period of time to settle in them. I'm making them, and he has a chance to get in. So she went to go and ask the rabbi. It says over there in the pasuk, "Vayimleu yamea laledet, vehine tomim bevetna." So she came to full term, 9 months. Vehine is like a word of surprise. Wow, tomim bevetna, she's got twins. Just goes to show you that anytime somebody has twins, it's always a surprise. It's not a common thing. Twins are not a common thing. It's a very rare thing. If you look into it a little bit deeply, there's a lot of...
I thought it was somewhat genetic.
It's yes and no. There's reasons why people have twins. There's a lot of reasons why they have twins, why they have triplets. There's a lot of reasons behind it. I actually did learn on it. I'm not going to put it part of this lesson. Maybe we'll discuss it off camera later. But it says the word vehine is to teach us that anytime that there's a twin, it's a surprise. It's not something that's common. And the word tomim bebitna, it's supposed to be teomim. The proper spelling for it, the full spelling for it, would be teomim, with an aleph and a yud. Here it's missing the aleph and the yud. It's tomim, tav vav mem yud mem. So the rabbis tell us, why is it missing the aleph and the yud? Aleph equals 1, yud equals 10, 11. Because Rivka was supposed to merit to have 12 tribes. She was supposed to have 11 more pregnancies. But because she complained about her first pregnancy, she lost it. So it says, Tomim, you lost the yud and the aleph. You're supposed to have way more. Hashem doesn't like complainers. Also, the word Tomim, she knew the Teromim would be that it behold and be, they were tzaddikim, being that they're missing the aleph and that they're missing the yud, meaning that they weren't so whole in their character. There's a rasha in there. Now, he said that as she's going through this difficult pregnancy, she says that she went to go Droshet Hashem. She went to go ask the rabbi. She sought guidance from Shem. Shem, who is Shem? Shem, Ham v'Yafet. He's one of Noah's kids. This is the one that was before the flood, during the flood, and after the flood. Shem is where we come from. We come from Shem. That's what you say, anti-Semites. Who are Semites? The ones that come from Sem. Right? So Shem was the rabbi of the time. And as she goes to him for advice, this is the advice that he gives her. Imagine, this is Gdol Hadol. Shne goyim bebitnech. He lets them know. First of all, you have twins. Shne goyim, you have two different types of nations in your belly. Shne omim b'me'ach yifratzu. And there will be two different nationalities that will be divided. They yifratzu. And he talks about them that when one is successful, the other one will be failing. When the other one is failing, the other one will be successful. He's telling what's going to become of her. This news calms her down, and she's able to continue knowing that there's two nations, two identities, two opposite forces, two opposite cosmic forces inside of her. And she was okay with it. And he also let her know that this is exactly the way it's supposed to be. In the next pasuk after that, she's giving birth. No extra text, wording, feelings about that. She went to the rabbi, he told her what it is, she accepted it, and she moved on. Which is exactly the way that a Jew should be. When he comes to get some advice from a rabbi, the rabbi calms him down. He gives him divine information. He gives him divine knowledge. Rabbis today are privy to information that even technology didn't catch up on yet. And it's unbelievable that even back in the days, that was the way of life. Now, if we look at that, if he's telling her that you have two nations, two identities, two polar opposites in your belly, let's compare them. We have Yaakov and we have Esav. So Yaakov was born halak, completely smooth. He was tamim. Tamim not meaning naive, because nowadays you can learn the word tamim as naive. More like whole. He was perfected. And he was also a tzaddik. Ish emet. Esav, they call him Esav because nolad asui. He was born already made. He had teeth, he had hair, he was he was completely hairy. I always say it all the time. He looked like the Elmo doll. Completely red and hairy all over. Something interesting in this week's, how do we know that he was the evil twin, let's call him? Onkelos is the Aramaic translation of the parasha. In one of his explanations, in translations of the word Esav, he explains the name in Pasuk Chav Zayin. If you ever want to look it up, it says Vayigdelu hana'arim v'hi Esav ish yodeh atzayid ish sadeh. And he explains it, Vehava Esav Gevar Nachshi Yarachan Gvar Nafek. Let's take that word, Nachshi Yarachan. He says, take the word, it's Nachash Yarachan. On his yerech, on his thigh, he had a Nachash. He had a tattoo of a snake. From birth. Unbelievable. Now, Rivka accepted the fact that she's going to have two polar opposites, two kids that are completely different. They're twins, right? They're going to be completely different from one another. And what do we come to learn from it? That it's exactly the way it's supposed to be. These polar opposites, these two cosmic forces that are coming through the belly of Rivka Imenu, the one is good and one is evil, it's exactly the way it's supposed to be. I believe we discussed it here last year, but I'll bring it up again. That tzaddik needs the rasha. The righteous man needs the wicked man. Why? Because the way that this world works is that there's no good without bad. There's no hot without cold. There's no happy without sad. You see, to everything in this world, there's a polar opposite. One thing defines the other. If you don't know what happiness is, how can you know what sad is? If you don't know what hot is, how can you know what cold is? You have to have these things to differentiate from one another. It's like both sides of the rainbow in order to understand a concept in this world. Now, because those things are necessary in our life, let's look into Esav a little bit. They said Esav was admoni. He was necessary. Having evil people in this world is necessary. Admoni comes from the word admana, meaning admoni, meaning that he was red or reddish, but also means that he was from the Adama. What do you mean from the Adama? He was very materialistic. He was very connected to the physicality. He was Gashmi, not Ruchani. He was all about this world. As a matter of fact, in the belly, that's what they were fighting about. I'll take the spirituality, and you'll take everything that has to do with the mundane. And they were fighting back and forth. It's not, I want this, I want that. At the end of the day, Esav knew all the Torah. He was on a very, 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 very high level. His head is buried in Ma'arat HaMachpelah. We spoke about it last week. There's no... Ma'arat HaMachpelah is like the elite club of elite club. What's Esav's head doing over there? Because he had the Torah in his head. He knew everything. The problem is the body didn't let him. The body didn't let him become spiritual. As a matter of fact, they say Esav had the power of Mashiach. He had the power to elevate the mundane to spiritual. For example, if you take again the name Esav, it's the numerical value, it's the gematria of the word shalom. Shalom, if you ever want to know what's number one on Hashem's list, number one on his list, it's peace. Shalom. Who was able to achieve that? Who has the same numerical value as Shalom? Esav. He had the power, he had the secret, he knew how to take everything that was physical and elevate it to the highest spiritual form. But he didn't do it. He didn't do it. These polar opposites that we speak of are very necessary. He would take it to the point that even a Jew needs an Arab. How is that?
Well, isn't Shalom also contained within Ishmael's name?
Ishmael, Shalom, I don't see it. Meaning, without the Vav, with the Nikud, what are you going to do with the Yud Ayin Aleph? We'll see. So how does the Jew need the Arab?
Shalom. We both the Arabs and the Christians to make peace in the world.
Chidush, let's see if it fits into anything. Look at the name of the Arabs. The source of all the Arabs in the world comes from one name, that's Ishmael. Now, if you know a little bit about Hebrew grammar, Ishmael is in future tense. Shouldn't his name be, because when they called him, shouldn't his name be Shamael, Hashem heard him? Or Shomael, Hashem is hearing him right now? Why was his name called Ishmael? That Hashem will listen in the future. The reason for that is because his name is very telling. The reason why his name is Ishmael, that Hashem will listen in the future, because in the future, Ishmael will be a vital part of bringing Hashem to hear the cries of the Jewish people. Look around us. What's happening with the Arabs? They're terrorizing the world. More and more, they're terrorizing different regions. And they're causing the people of those regions to say, what? Hashem, help us! Hashem, please! Ishmael is going to increase their terrorism in this world. And as they increase their terrorism, more people are going to lift their hands up to the Shamayim and say, Hashem, please help. The reason why he's called Ishmael is because he's going to cause the world to cry to Hashem, and then Hashem will listen. Hashem, Ishmael, he will listen.
I can hug her. The baby, Ishmael. She became that.
Yes. That she's his mom. Even the terrorists. Where do we get this concept that the mom of a terrorist is so proud to, here, go die? What did Hagar do? Hagar left her son and she went to hide behind the tree to watch him die. Where's the source of that? Where's the shoresh for a mom letting her mom and her kids go to die and watching them die? That we see today on TV, they're so proud of it. Hagar. Ishmael is necessary for the Jew. He's the one that's going to cause the Jew to cry out to Hashem.
That's why we have the shofar and the blast, like the replication of the crying.
Meyalelet. That's from Sisa. So you can see that sometimes there's even a necessary evil. Sometimes there's even a necessary evil in the world. And it's all necessary. The good, the bad, the righteous, the evil. It's the recipe to life. And the challenges that come with it. Life is all about overcoming the challenges. We are in a broken world, and as Jews, we're here to fix it. The job of fixing it, the only people that came here with a toolbox are the Jews. Nobody also got hired for that job. There's no other person on the planet that has a job to fix it. We are the only ones that got the job to fix the world. We're in a broken world. We're in Olam HaSheker. Olam HaEmet is over there. So imagine, who has those lenses that sees the world this way? But the rabbis tell us that's what it is. Now, having said that, that we can see that everything is necessary. Death, sickness, good, evil, all these different polar opposites, we understand that it's a beautiful world. Hashem made it in a way that everything correlates to one another. Everything is connected to one thing, but it's up to us to navigate it correctly to get a good experience out of the world that we're in. Now, having said all that, we have to know that our strand, remember where we come from? That finally we got to the DNA, this holy spark of HaKadosh Baruch Hu that he gave Adam HaRishon finally carried over, is in us. Yaakov was able to perfect it with his 12 children, that he said, it's in your DNA for the rest of eternity. It's in all your children. So that means we are the sons of Yaakov. The sons of Yaakov are Bnei Israel. That is our root, our shoresh, and that's also our destiny. And what was Yaakov? Yaakov was Ishtam. He was a whole man. He was complete. He was holy. Yoshev Ohalim. He used to study Torah. He had a life of Torah. Hashem gave Yaakov emet. V'natan leYaakov emet, it says. He gave him the truth. We are the people of the truth. We hold the truth. The Torah is the truth. We are the ones that hold the truth in Olam HaSheker. You know, we spoke about, just one last thing, we spoke about twins and triplets and how it's very unique. You have to know that us, Am Yisrael, we're part of a triplet, a spiritual triplet. The Pasuk says, Kudusha Berichu, Oraita V'Yisrael Chadhu. Chazal tell us, the rabbis tell us, God, God, the Torah, and the nation of Israel are all one. We are triplets. Israel is us. God is us. We are God. We are Israel. We are all one. We are spiritual triplets.
Somebody say Shema Yisrael, not Shema Ha'olam.
Of course. Shema Yisrael is something that was designated to us. Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. We are the chosen children of Hashem. Hashem chose us and gave us the Torah. So Shema Yisrael is for us. Everybody else turned it down. Famous story, how all the nations turned it down. So we see that we got towards 4 pesukim in the parasha, and there's so many interesting concepts about Avraham, about Yitzchak, about how we have this holy spark in us and how it got here since Adam HaRishon. We saw about the difficult pregnancy of Rivka Imenu and the special prayer of Vayater. We see that we didn't even get into the latter years of Esav, but he was a unique baby in the belly and a unique newborn and a unique individual, and he was necessary. If Yitzchak did not have Esav as a brother, he wouldn't have the complete polar opposite of him to understand what not to do. He knew how to be a tzaddik because his brother was a rasha. And sometimes that's what it is. Sometimes in life, you got to have your polar opposites to define who you are. Have a great rest of the week, and we'll see you again.